In this episode, you are going to find out how tattoo removal aftercare impacts your tattoo removal. And at the very end, I'm going to give my 4 tips to help your tattoo removal healing process. Tattoo removal aftercare is enormous, and I believe it is not spoken enough about. When it comes to your tattoo removal journey, there's 2 factors. One is us, the tattoo removalists, doing the treatment for you. And the second part that is just as big is the aftercare, and that falls in your lap. Aftercare is important, it's crucial, and you are the only one that can take care of that. So this information is going to help you with a large part of your tattoo removal process. With good aftercare, there are 3 factors which will help your tattoo removal journey. The first is healing and recovery. The second is maximizing ink clearance. The third, and most importantly, is preventing irritation, inflammation, and infection. These 3 things help your tattoo removal process by allowing your immune system to focus on the one thing that it needs to, which is breaking and filtering down the shattered ink. When you follow good aftercare, you do not have to, your body does not have to worry about preventing and healing infections, and your skin doesn't have to worry about the scabs that you picked off, and it allows your body to focus on what it needs to for you to have the most efficient removal, which is filtering the ink from your body. Healing and recovery, it kind of sounds like a no-brainer, but it is super important. A very common side effect's probably not the right word, but I have this conversation with my clients, and I have to be honest, it's usually men that fall into this category. Some men have a theory, hey, maybe if I pick and scratch, I can pick some ink out of my skin and I can speed up the removal because I'm removing the ink myself. This is madness. Common sense kind of prevails here, but I'm sorry, I've heard this all too often. When it comes to healing, the number 1 rule is don't pick and scratch, because you can't pick ink out of your skin. If you pick and scratch, all you're going to do is scar the skin. You're not going to be able to externally remove your tattoo. All you're doing, I promise you, is damaging your skin. Sounds like common sense, each to their own, but aftercare is super important. If you pick and scratch, it doesn't only increase the chance of scarring. What it can do, it can open a wound. The lasers that we use, and I have to emphasize, not all lasers are the same, but our lasers do not break your skin. What does that mean? There's no risk of infection. The only way you can get an infection, granted, as long as you're not allergic to the ink or the tattoo, the only way you can get an infection is by picking and scratching and breaking the skin. This is how important tattoo removal, healing, and aftercare is. And this is why it's important that you don't pick and scratch. When you leave our clinic, there's no broken skin. And from when you leave, there's only one way that you can get broken skin, and that's you. So take it from me, don't pick and scratch. You will make your healing process a hell of a lot easier. You will have no broken skin, which means you have no risk of infection, which means your body doesn't have to fight infection, and it can fade the ink. Your lymphatic system can work as efficiently, and you will get the most progress from your tattoo removal treatment. Guys, I want to hear your stories. On that note, picking and scratching, any questions, tell me your tattoo removal experiences. If you have concerns, if you have questions, I'm here to help. What I've done, I've pinned a comment below. Please reply to that, and I want to hear your thoughts, your experiences. I understand there is some shocking tattoo removal stories out there, and I want to hear them all. Thank you for following me to the end for my 4 tips that you can implement to help your healing and aftercare process. The first one is immediately, and it is keeping the area cool and clean. So when you leave the clinic, the first thing you need to do is get home and keep it cool. My tool of choice is aloe vera. Put some aloe vera in the fridge, and if your tattoo is big enough, or if it's warm enough, an ice pack is not a bad option. I have to be honest, a lot of our clients, because of the equipment and the lasers and the cryos that we use in the clinic, most of our clients don't go home and use ice packs because it's not necessary. They're not in enough discomfort. They're not feeling enough heat to warrant laying there on the lounge with an ice pack, which is great, but aloe vera, always a good idea. Some of my tattoo removal veterans will keep a tube of aloe vera in the fridge, and you will thank me later if you implement that little trick. My second tip that you can implement and put in your top pocket for a better tattoo removal healing experience is moisturizing. Now, this segues back around into what I was just talking about, not picking and scratching. Now, if your tattoo goes through a dry or itchy healing period, moisturizer is essential. And when I say moisturizer, the lasers that we use, it can be any type of moisturizer. It can be aloe vera, it can be pawpaw, it can be moisturizer. It can truly be anything that helps moisturize and soothe. On that note, there is inferior lasers that break your skin. It is not ideal to use scented moisturizers and certain things with those lasers. I am giving you my aftercare advice with the lasers that we use. Aloe vera, pawpaw, moisturizer, it's all great stuff. Honestly, pawpaw and moisturizer are probably my ideal pick. The aloe vera cold in the fridge for the first day or two, and then switching to pawpaw. To soothe the itchiness, you use these moisturizers, these pawpaw, this aloe vera, for the obvious reason that you are not tempted to pick and scratch. And it brings us back to not breaking the skin, right? So this is why moisturizing and keeping your skin cool and soothed and moisturized helps your tattoo removal healing and reduces the risk of scarring, because you're not tempted to pick at it, whether you consciously do it or maybe you're asleep and you wake yourself up finding that you're scratching, which I have heard of before. The third and a very important tip is avoiding trauma. Now, I'm not talking about emotional trauma and why you're getting your tattoo removed. That is on you. What I'm talking about is skin trauma. A few examples. I always like to bring my clinical experience into here so you can hear just some of the crazy things that I have to deal with. Physical trauma post-treatment. So an experience that I had was I did a big leg tattoo, and then the next day the client decided to go skateboarding. What happens when you skateboard? You fall off. And what happens? You scrape along the concrete. And what happens? You break all the skin. Simple things. And these are obvious things like avoid skateboarding and avoid this sort of stuff. Those are extreme skin traumatic experiences, which is kind of common sense to avoid. But as always, what is a very common skin trauma? Picking and scratching. Don't pick and scratch. Don't do some crazy sports. Don't go play rugby. Don't go skateboarding. I'm going to share an experience. I once had a guy removing his wedding finger tattoo. I understand the guy wanted it gone and he had urgency, but he did not respect the process, and he came back for his second treatment with an insane amount of scarring. When he came back, I was mortified thinking that I had done this to him, until he told me that he put a sanding disc on a grinder and decided to use an angle grinder to try and sand the tattoo out of his finger. I had to politely ask him to not continue his tattoo removal treatments with me, because these are some of the things I have to deal with, and all that results from that is a crazy scar of where the tattoo was. And I understand if you prefer a scar over the tattoo, then that's fine. But I have a funny feeling that is not why you're watching this YouTube video, because you want to get through your tattoo removal process without scarring. Avoid the crazy stuff, avoid angle grinders, avoid skateboarding, don't pick and scratch. And this brings me to my fourth and most important tip, is avoiding sun exposure. Now, you don't have to lock yourself in the basement and avoid the sun all year round. But what you do need to do is be aware that if you are tanning, sunburning that skin regularly, you are running a risk of pigment damage. So what happens? Guess what? Laser is light, it's radiation, and you are getting intense amplified light shot through your skin. If you sunburn that skin, you are increasing the chance that you are either gonna hypopigment or hyperpigment your skin. So you can lighten or darken where the tattoo was. It's really important if you're going through your tattoo removal process to use sunscreen. We live on the Gold Coast, so what I tell clients, you're gonna go to the sun, you're gonna go to the beach. Some people go to the solarium, whatever, do your thing. Just put zinc on the tattoo and forget about it. Don't get it sunburnt. If you want to minimize the chance of damaged skin, which is why you're watching this, it is really important that you do these 4 things. Keep the tattoo cool post-treatment. You moisturize throughout the 8 weeks between your treatments. You are moisturizing and you are avoiding itchiness and dryness. You're avoiding trauma to the skin. And the 4th is use sun protection. And like I said, you can go into the sun, but please do not get it sunburnt throughout your healing process, because this will affect your tattoo removal healing. Aftercare is super important, and I believe that it is 50% of your tattoo removal experience, half of it being the treatment in the clinic that's removing it. The other half is you and your aftercare. To summarize this video, I hope I have given you some tools and some tips to take away with you along your tattoo removal process to make your life a little bit easier. My latest video dropped earlier this week, and I want you to watch it because I think you are going to love it. This video, you will learn 5 techniques to minimize tattoo removal pain. This is a valuable one, and I think you're going to take a lot from it. So please, you'll find the playlist in the description below. Click that and go have a look at how you can minimize the pain of your tattoo removal treatment.